and today I'm interviewing Nadene Conlon, Kiwi Fern number 6. Nadene, how did you get involved in rugby league? I know you came from a rugby league family, so how did the transition to playing rugby league occur?
Well, there wasn't actually a lot of girls that played when I grew up, but of course, spent most of my life at rugby league clubs and rugby league with Dad played and coached, and a brother that played as well. And I always wanted to play, and I, running around as a kid at the club, you tend to play with the kids there. So, and that's actually how I learned how to play league, but I never actually played for a team, and then played a lot of sports like most of us in those days growing up, and then started playing very competitive touch. And it wasn't till sort of my late teens that I got the opportunity to play rugby league, and they'd sort of made it quite a viable women's competition in Auckland, and I got asked to play, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was a little bit nervous going out there because I thought, I felt like I knew the game, but then to actually play it, it's a different thing. So, and then when I got out there, I just absolutely loved it. Loved the contact of it, the hustle and the bustle and the competitiveness. So yeah, that was me.
And as you said, Kiwi Fern number 6. So you actually played your first match for the Kiwi Ferns in 1995, is that correct?
Yes, that's right, in the inaugural team. So yeah, in the olden days.
Well, then it moved on to 1997, you were the vice captain.
Yes, yeah.
1998, you were the vice captain. So tell us about the 2000 World Cup where you were the captain of the Kiwi Ferns. What do you remember about that?
Oh, look, one of my proudest moments. We, obviously, the inaugural team 95, and we played right through till each year we had a form of a tour, and we'd played Australia and Great Britain. Even at the time, they were, we were seen as the top 3 nations playing rugby league and women's, and we'd had quite a lot of success in winning every game bar one from that time leading through to 99, and won every test series. So to be able to go to an official World Cup and to co-captain the team was just absolutely amazing. It was a dream come true, and to top it off and win it was even better. So yeah, and someone asked me this earlier, and I, every time you pull on the black and white jersey is a special moment. But I think what that particular World Cup is, it kind of solidified the seriousness of the sport, and we did actually start to get taken a little bit more seriously as well, and particularly having that success which sort of transitioned through for the next 2 World Cups as well, winning 3 in a row. So yeah.
So moving on, after your playing career, I think it would be fair to say that you've led the way for women in rugby league in New Zealand for the past 25 years. Would that be a fair indication of how you've progressed from a player to management all the way to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really nice that you say that, and I'm quite proud of the things that I've achieved. It hasn't always been easy, and there's been some challenges along the way, but I've never used being a woman as being an excuse not to take on these opportunities that come my way, and for the most part enjoyed every moment of it, and it's great.
Tell me about you and Terry Hermanson, the Auckland Rugby League in 2000. That was your first full-time gig, so tell us about that.
Yeah, so Michael Rawari, who was actually our Kiwi Ferns coach, he was the development manager at Auckland Rugby League, and he was fantastic in wanting to see more women in roles, kind of in differing roles, or roles that they hadn't generally had or in the past. And he even in his coaching style, he didn't look at us as women. We were rugby league players, and that's how he took his approach to things, which was fantastic, and we loved that. And it was the same in the workforce. So he wanted to get a woman in as a development officer there, and that's why. So I ended up going on board with Terry Hermanson and David Pearce and Neville Ramsey. So that was our crew there, and and the rest is history. So yeah, just
So from Auckland Rugby League, you then moved across the road to the Warriors. And what was your functions there with Ivan Cleary?
yeah.
What roles did you have with the Warriors then?
I actually moved from Auckland Rugby League and went to New Zealand Rugby League first, and then from New Zealand Rugby League I went overseas, and then I came back to work at the Warriors. Oh look, it was an amazing experience at the Warriors, and learned a lot, particularly in that high performance space by working in the Warriors, because I had a dual role there where I was in the football department and worked my way up to being the NRL footy manager, but I also did the events. And Ivan was brilliant, you know. We had a really good staff, and we worked really hard, particularly over about a 5-year period, to really change things up to build that success. So it was one of those things that didn't happen overnight, but it certainly did, you know, it was a progressive step, and always looking to improve along the way. And I think that that became, you know, evident when we got our 3 teams to the grand final in 2011, which is a really proud, memorable moment.
So that's another first for you. You're the first NRL team manager that we've ever had.
Yeah, that's right.
So you then moved on, and you then joined the New Zealand Rugby League from the Warriors in 2014. What was your role when you came to New Zealand Rugby League?
So originally I've sort of changed roles a little bit since I've been here, and I was the National Development Manager. And then it wasn't long before I moved into National Football Operations Manager, and in the same year then, you know, managed the Kiwis. So yeah, that was what I was, the first role, and doing all a lot of the domestic programs and national programs, as well as the international programs.
I spoke about your involvement for the past 25 years involved in rugby league. So you were an NRL manager. So when did you get appointed as the Kiwis full-time manager?
So
How did that come about?
yeah, so I was managing the team from 2014 when I came to the New Zealand Rugby League, and then in 2016, as a progressive step and a way forward, and in connection with High Performance Sport New Zealand, they, in our partnership, New Zealand Rugby League's partnership with them, for future success, they felt that that role should be a full-time role. So in 2016 we had to go through the process of application again, and so I applied for that role and was appointed the Kiwis manager, Kiwis and national teams manager in a full-time capacity, which still meant that I managed the team, but I also there's other tasks and duties involved in that role as well.
Now, I spoke before about the highlight of your career as a player, winning the World Cup in 2000. Would it be fair to say that the Kiwis campaign in 2017 at Wellington would be the low light of your career? How did you handle that?
If I'm totally honest, I was devastated. You would have thought I played in it, the way, with my reaction. Yeah, I think, it was actually surreal at the time, but that's sports too, you know, and how you bounce back from adversity and have that resilience. That's a real test, and not everything is always going to go your way. I mean, I think it was, if it's fair to say, I think it was a little bit disappointing in that when these things happen, everyone thinks that, oh my gosh, behind the scenes was an absolute nightmare, and it's not always the case. There were certainly things that we could have done better and that we've learned from. I feel that we have learned from and pushed on in a better way, but we just didn't compete well enough.
So next year, 2018, you had the enviable task of organising the test match in Denver. How was that, organising a test match on the far side of the world?
Yeah, really interesting and quite the challenge, but a neat challenge as well. Being mid-year, there was a lot of resistance to that, and that particularly from the NRL clubs and where we were playing. So because we were at Mile High Stadium and with the atmosphere there, there was a lot of resistance with having to travel such a long distance and then play at such a high altitude. So we had to do actually a lot of scientific research, and our high performance guys did a lot of work in providing data to the NRL clubs and CEOs so they felt comfortable actually releasing the players. So there was a lot of things that actually went into that, and I think, look, it was one of those things that it was a worthwhile exercise, in that I think if we can break into that market, it would be great. And people absolutely loved the game. But so it was a good opportunity for exposure. But yeah, I think it would be, it'd be nice to actually see a little bit more rugby league played in that area of the world.
Yeah, with the Warriors back on stream, we've got one game to go. You have been appointed by the NRL as the ground manager for New Zealand at the moment. How's that been going in the last 3 games?
Yeah, good. Look, they've got a great crew, great event staff. We've got a really good team, and I've got a lot of experience around me to help me with that. It is interesting being in that role when you're usually dealing with that person rather than being that person, but I've really enjoyed it, and it's a great learning curve for me, and I was actually chuffed to be given the opportunity, and it was one I wasn't going to turn down, so hopefully I'm doing okay at it, but yeah.
Just for the viewing audience, I'm actually one of Nadene's staff. I'm one of the timekeepers on the day, so we see a lot of each other. I'd just like to finish off. I'd like to quote Michael Maguire just to finish off, and Michael says, Nadene is a huge asset to the New Zealand Rugby League, and how she looks after both the men and the women in such a large job, and knows all the specifics required either at home or away. That to me, that really says Nadene Conlon. Would you agree? Would you agree with that statement?
I don't know. Thanks, Madge. I hope so. I mean, I see it as my job to put everything in place so that, so the other staff can do their jobs and the players can do their job, and they don't have to worry about all of those things and all the logistics behind the scenes all the organised chaos behind the scenes. Well, so it's, I really appreciate the comment.
Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's Nadene Conlon, Kiwi Fern number 6. Thank you for letting us interview you today.
Oh, thanks, Gary. It's awesome. Really appreciate it.